All right, let's get going. I'm on 14th Street between 2nd and 1st. Here's the halal guys. They started off with a food truck. I think it's on like 48th and 6th Avenue. We used to call it the Four Corners because we had one food truck on each corner. And when we were in our early 20s, we used to go there religiously after a long night at the bar. The guy used to have a line for about an hour to get this halal guy's chicken he makes. There's artichoke pizza. They're pretty famous for this deep dish style artichoke pizza they make with a kind of like an Alfredo based sauce. Maybe I can like snoop in there. Maybe next time. I'm not that motivated to go stare at pizza and not buy any. I already had 3 slices. Yeah, I'm testing out this tripod selfie stick to see if I can capture better, steadier images. It's kind of hard to tell in my experience until you upload them onto the computer. Just heard some kids go by. Who knows? I remember when I was their age not too long ago. It's a beautiful synagogue here. It says Tiferet Israel. I have bad pronunciation. There's a menorah. Oh, look, it's the FDNY Engine 5. I've kind of started doing these videos because I don't see that many that I suppose that I'd be interested in, well, as far as it comes to New York City. So trying to do my own to shed a little perspective and my own light onto things. This is a cool bar here. I've been in there a few times. Go check that out. They have quite a big space downstairs, food and all types of things. Empanada Mama. I believe this used to be a hot dog place, but now they're serving empanadas. All right, keep it moving here. I'm trying to head towards the East Village area, Avenue A by Thompson Square Park, which is where all the skaters hang out. I guess I'll go down to A Street. It's kind of a little more fun walk. This area has always been happening with kind of the skater, punk rock kind of kids. It's been a big hangout forever. It's like all the misfits were known for going to St. Mark's 8th Street. Here's a glass shop. They have the St. Mark's Hotel over there as well. I'm not sure the prices, but I'm sure you could check online. After COVID, it was sad to see that this neighborhood was practically empty, but here we are now, and it seems to be making quite the comeback. You'll see St. Mark's has about 20 bars going down it now between, I think, 1st and Avenue A. This is the new style bodega. They have one blueprint pretty much now. It's the sandwich salad bar, kind of more fancy little treats as opposed to before it was just kind of a dive deli. Those don't really exist anymore. Looks like there's a thrift store here. You'll find tons of great thrifting if you make it down here. You won't have any loneliness from lack of thrift stores. Here we are. Keep on going. This is First Avenue and 12th. I'm gonna try to make it to 8th before this thing runs out of batteries, I hope. See Michael Jackson there in the distance on the building. Check out all the graffiti. Woo. I remember when I was younger, I used to think that this was the coolest thing in the world. It really is an art form, the graffiti, I must say. It's a shame that a lot of the writers didn't make it to the big leagues, so to speak. I think the art is a little unrespected, or there's a lack of education for these poor artists that, you know, might have had a chance to make it on the big stage, but have just been tagging up the streets for an eternity. I mean, I respect what they do, but I'm saying it's a lot of time and money spent and not a lot of reward, as I can see. But you never know. There's always the story of Keith Haring. So he started off as a graffiti writer. Look at all those delivery bikes. Wow. Somebody's popular. Yeah, the delivery drivers in the city used to work for like certain restaurants, and based on the restaurant they worked for, it was more of a steady gig, and they pretty much worked at the restaurant. You know, had at least some free food and stability. But ever since Uber Eats and the rest of them have come along, they're all independently operated. What's the word I'm looking for? They're you know, freelance, or I forgot, there's some other terminology. Oh, look at this gelato place. This looks good. Ooh. Try this out sometime. Anyway, there's two ways of looking at everything. It's offered up a lot more opportunities for a lot more people, but there's just no more, you know, steady bicycle delivery guys anymore. It used to kind of be more of a job for them instead of a kind of freelance thing, I believe. But that being said, I don't know, because I did not partake. Oh, look at this little theater here. Never been. This is a nice stroll. I believe it's about 3:30, 4 o'clock. But kids have now gotten out of school and are roaming around. It's auspiciously quiet. I suppose that since there's less of a middle class that can obviously afford to live around here, that all the people that stay in these areas, primarily as soon as it gets a little cold or there's some cool festival going on somewhere else, they just hop on a plane and leave. Because as you can see, there's almost no one walking around, and the weather is pretty nice. It's just I don't think there's as many people around because it's become more of a seasonal thing for people that can afford it. There used to be a bunch of Ukrainian restaurants down here. I think Veselka is still here, but there was about another half a dozen of them that couldn't afford to keep up with the rent, or maybe retired after 20 years. I don't know the whole story, but this kind of used to be like, in a way, little Ukraine, and you could stop in some of these hole-in-the-wall places. Shout out to Stage Diner. It was right there next to where the Blue Man Group Theater used to perform on. I trying to jog my memory to see. I think it was right over there somewhere. But hey, I am not sure. Trying to get my bearings here because I haven't been in quite some time, so it's a little unfamiliar looking to me. Okay, let's keep it moving. Almost got ran over by a bike. Okay, now we're on St. Mark's. I'm gonna take you down the road here towards Avenue A, Thompson Square Park. They're taking pictures, I'm taking pictures. Inside the window, these two ladies were doing a selfie at the cafe there. Okay, let's see what's going on. Fun city. Is this a tattoo shop? Yes, it is. Bowery in the city used to be filled with tattoo shops. This was before my time, but anyway, everything's constantly changing here. Look at this old ATM. I remember when there were phone booths like that everywhere, and people used to use them as urinals, unfortunately. But they have since taken away the phone booths. If you knew where to go, there would be one booth in the neighborhood that rang back, because the majority of the phones, there was no receiving calls. So if you knew the one that rang back, like, you were like the cool guy around, so to speak. Yeah, we tended to make more plans or have like designated times and meetup areas. Even if there were no plans, it was pretty much a given that people were going to be at a certain spot, certain time, so that way we'd have something to do. Now there's no real need for that because the phone and everything. This is cute. Okay. I'm starting to wonder what's going on. I think the last time I was here, the weather was a bit warmer and they closed down this whole street, so there's no cars and it's filled with outdoor seating. And there must have been a few hundred people out here just sitting in the street eating and drinking. I suppose it's going to pick up in a bit. As I said, it's only 4 o'clock and it's Monday. I think, maybe Tuesday. Oh, this place has been here forever. The old dive bar. I forget the name of it. Maybe we'll see. I'd like to go get a shot at what the bathroom looks like in there. It's usually like a testimony to drunken graffiti heads. There she is. Well, somebody will have to shout out in the comments the name of this place because I do not remember. Here's Thompson Square Park, home of the Zoo York skaters for many, many years. I do not know even if Zoo York is a thing anymore, or if they skate here. I'm just falling back into the loop of things. There we go. Pop a kickflip. He was not having it. Pizza, no pork. There's a bunch of bars here. You always find somewhere to warm up if need be. I'm a bit confused as to where the crowd was, but like I said, they had that street closed down over the summer, and everybody was going there to eat. The weather has just kind of turned, so I'm supposing a lot of people have taken this opportunity to, like, you know, put in their long 3-day vacation or whatever it might be. All right, here we go. The guys are here. This hasn't changed. I don't think we had all the cool ramps and stuff, but people are still skating out here. Look at them go. Makes me want to bring out my board. I was not the best, but I did try. We started off inline skating, actually. I had TLC Lightnings, look them up. And the only way to do tricks on these skates was to modify them yourself, because they didn't really make, you know, skates for doing tricks and grinding and whatnot. But we evolved from skating to skateboarding. And now it looks like there's no more skaters, only skateboarders. I think skateboarding is more fun. But here it is. I thought this would be cool to show everybody. I'm gonna get out of here. Peace, love, happiness, you know, all that good stuff. Later.